All right, Shalom. I'm giving all glory, praise, and honor that's due to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shah, or Harakah Kodash, and that belongs to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace, mercy, and grace be to the household of faith, the election. Welcome back to another lesson. I was inspired to go into some current news, things happening via the End Time Headlines platform, reporting. It's a news reporting platform, if you will. And there's some interesting things going on. Mostly I'm going to talk about this incoming energy/fuel crisis. It says this is dated today, April 2nd, 2026. American Airlines could run out of fuel within weeks as travel chaos spirals before summer. All right. A fast-moving supply squeeze has sent jet fuel prices soaring and rattled carriers on both sides of the Atlantic. In the U.S., big airlines are already scrambling as costs surge, and executives warn the hit could last well beyond the busy travel season. The Argus U.S. Jet Fuel Index, an industry benchmark tracking wholesale jet fuel prices, climbed to $4.57 a gallon on March 27, which I'm not sure if that's expensive or not. I'm not sure, how bad that is. Oh, okay, here it is. Meanwhile, the spot price for jet fuel in the U.S., the going market rate for immediate purchase, hits $4.24 a gallon last week, up from about $2.50 per before the first strikes on Iran. So, what's that? $3.50, $4.50. That's almost twice as much, right? So let's get some more stuff, because what caught my attention was. See if he has it here. Oh, this is a good one, though. Trump strongly considering pulling out U.S. out of NATO over Iran alliance of Paper Tiger. So that's good, right? Tension between the whore and the beast. Let's see what that's about. April 1st, 2026, President Trump said he's strongly considering pulling the U.S. out of NATO after the alliance failed to get behind Washington's operation in Iran, as he branded the defense pact a paper tiger. Trump told the Telegraph the transatlantic alliance was beyond reconsideration, adding, "I was never swayed by NATO. I always knew they were a paper tiger, and Putin knows that too." By the way, Trump claimed NATO wasn't there for the U.S. when Washington rallied behind its European allies in the face of Russia's illegal invasion of Ukraine. "We've been there automatically, including Ukraine. Ukraine wasn't our problem," he said. "It was a test, and we were there for them, and we would have always been there for them. They weren't there for us." Last week, he previously described the alliance as obsolete and told the Washington Post in 2016 that NATO was costing the U.S. a fortune. And looking up, Trump's skepticism of the alliance has been well documented, which dates back to before his 2016 election win. This is beautiful. So the Horn, whose look would be more stout than his fellows, now we see we see the fulfillment of Rev 17 and 16 coming. It's going to be through Trump, or at least he's spearheading it. So this is Daniel 7 dealing with the four beasts. Right, Daniel 7 and 20. "And of the 10 horns that were in his head, and of the other which came up, and before whom 3 fell," this is talking about Babylon the Great, "even of that horn that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things, whose look was more stout than his fellows." And that just sounds like Donald Trump, don't it? That horn that came out of the other 3, which is Babylon the Great, which is the United States of America, that had eyes and a mouth that spake very great things. And isn't that him? He's always, that sounds like his language, his lingo too. Very great. It was very big. It was very, like, he's so simple. And this is him in a nutshell. Great things. Let's look at great and see what that says in the Hebrew. Great things, which is Rob, or Rob. Great Rob. Rob, which is the Hebrew word Rob, which just means great. Or it could be a noun, captain, chief. I guess that's what they get, maybe rabbi. Okay, but yeah. Whose look was more stout than his fellows? Look at stout. What is stout? Stout. Great. Okay. And who are his fellows? His fellows are his allies. And we're seeing that President Trump, the king of Babylon, is literally isolating and separating the whore from the beast. Revelation 17, and because you read the scripture, it was the whore riding the beast. The beast represents those European allies, which in conjunction with Babylon the Great is the revival of the Roman Empire. Revelation 17 and 16, the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked. Yeah, desolate and naked. She's going to be ashamed. She's going to be left alone. She's going to be forsaken. She's going to be without wanting, right? And shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. I'm so disappointed in NATO, he said. This was a test. You can help us. You don't have to, but if you don't do that, we're going to remember. Speaking stoutly. So that's interesting, right? Give it up for the Lord of hosts. Data centers causing huge temperature spikes for miles around them. How about that? That's interesting. And then how about Esau getting ahead of that by calling it climate change, right? He got ahead of that. Oh, it's climate change. That's why it's getting so hot lately. Let's look up and see where are the data centers in the U.S. 4,000 facilities. Let's look it up. 4,000 in the U.S. Interesting information right here, buddy. 289 out there in Cali. 163 in Arizona. Georgia has 214, 92 in North Carolina. Virginia has 579. Where are the most at? Georgia, Texas. The most is in Texas right now. Texas. Got some over there near Chicago. But Virginia got the most, though. How about that? New York, 52. No, that's Connecticut. 133 in New York. Interesting. So, yeah, Texas got 411, Virginia 570. So we got that info. So data centers are causing huge temperature spikes for miles around them. How about that? They're at the heart of the AI boom and producing so much heat that they're spiking land temperatures for miles around them by up to 16 degrees. Wow. And this is why on those dystopian or dystopian movies and shows, it's always dark. It's always dark and gloomy, and just everything looks so dry and desolate. And like the Book of Eli, resources were so scarce. The Matrix, dark, gloomy, scarce resources, right? Because this is what's coming. This thing, this is a part of the image of the beast, which is going to cause many to worship. Because for a little bit of resources, you're going to have to worship this thing via getting that chip, because the chip is going to link you to this AI data grid. This is a modern day global idol being erected. It's deep. CEO of America's largest public hospital says he's ready to replace radiologists with AI. No need for a radiologist. No need for a doctor, teacher. You have alpha schools. You have alpha schools, man. Let's go to YouTube. Alpha School. Alpha schools are here. How this could change how students learn. Alpha School. Inside the 40,000 a year school where AI shapes every lesson. AI's Alpha School's disruptive vision for the future of education. Yeah, this is the future of education. Texas Alpha School teaches high school students with AI. And we saw that there's a lot of data centers in Texas. How about that?
Are so last century.
Let us embrace AI and the new way of learning.
And that is the premise of this radical approach to education at Alpha Schools. Here, not only is the teaching of core subjects left entirely to AI,
I'm Elle, your personal dating coach.
even passion projects about young love are infused with artificial intelligence.
I have an app.
Okay.
Answers any question about teen dating. I want to ask my crush out to prom in front of all of her friends. Is that a good idea?
It really depends on her personality.
So you've created a data set using like ChatGPT and your own TikTok?
And my TikTok. Combining the two to create this app.
The AI programs they use to teach core curriculum are so personalized that they even police procrastination.
It'll track my screen and it'll say, oh, hey, she's not focused on her lessons right now.
So the app is a textbook, a teacher, a quiz, and like kind of like a video game.
Exactly.
Yeah.
AI teaching teens inside Alpha High School, see? And they're going to have just one, like, overseer, just one little overseer. And AI is going to be facilitating all the teaching and the instructions. And AI is going to be shaping the future, shaping what people believe because children won't know. If these devils have their way, they won't know about a world where there was natural resources, natural fun, natural enjoyment. We're coming into a society like equilibrium, which was a dystopian future where people were emotionless. They had no emotions, and they had what they call father, who was like this one guy who pretty much dictated the whole society, and everyone had no emotions. You see, and this is why the days are being shortened. These days have to go by quickly because there won't be any more servants of the Lord. There won't the heritage of the saints and the servants of the God of the Hebrews would cease to exist. They will be deceived. Matthew 24:24, for there shall arise false prophets, and shall show great signs and wonders, insomuch that if it were possible, they shall deceive the very elect. See, an AI is a false Christ, which Christ is anointed Messiah, right? AI is a false Messiah, a false prophet, and it's showing great signs and wonders. And children and many simple, adults are being deceived by this. Jump up to verse 22, and except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened. So, see what else is going on. Trump says taking out Iran is investment, blah, blah, blah. What else? Earthquakes, 4.9 magnitude earthquake rattles Northern California. That's prophecy. Maine is about to become the first state to ban new data centers, which this is going to, this goes into that civil war algorithm, because we know that there's going to be Egyptian against Egyptian. There's a division happening in the states, and states that don't play ball, they're just going to not have anything, because this digital evolution is not stopping. So if Maine and whoever doesn't have these things are going to either start happening to those states and they're going to be punished, or they just won't be up to date. They won't have the latest tech. They won't have the latest government funding, et cetera. Things are going to happen. And Maine, who the fuck cares about Maine anyway? No one is in Maine. But see, these major places, and we saw where these data centers are being built, because you notice there's a lot of moving going on, a lot of migration. A lot of people are relocating from California to Texas, to Georgia, to North Carolina. People are coming from the Midwest, from the Northeast, going down south to North Carolina, to Georgia, to Texas, right? A lot of people are moving around. Florida, a lot of Floridans are moving to South Carolina. It's just a lot of movement, a lot of migrations, you see. But these data centers are being all around the country. They're being built all around the country because that You know, that digital eye in the sky, that digital surveillance grid is being prepared all around. And that's how he's going to cause all, both small and great, rich and poor. Revelation 13 and 16. We start up at 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. This is Babylon the Great, right? 2 horns like a lamb, which represents the bipartisan, voting party, the Democrats and Republicans, which gives the illusion of people's choice, people's rights, people's liberties. And he spake as a dragon because even though those illusions are there, the reality is draconianism is increasing. You see, and you people are being shown that nothing is in your interest. Everything is being done for outside other interests. You know, the small hats, the Ukrainians, the corporations, and the technocrats. You see, in which is resulting in pure hell on the people. This is verse 12. And he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, which represents the Roman Empire, which he came from, and causes the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast, whose daily wound was healed. So we have modern day Roman Empire worship, which the Roman Empire is fulfilled through Babylon the Great, which is the United States, tied to its NATO allies, all right, its European allies and the likes. Okay, and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on earth in the sight of men, and deceiveth them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles which he had power to do in the sight of the beast. Yeah, he dropped bombs on Japan. You know, NATO dropped bomb on Yugoslavia. It says that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Yep, and this is how Babylon gets down. It will come into your country. It's going to make a deal with you, and if you refuse, then, your leader will be found missing. He will be blackmailed. He will be, there's some kind of way that they're going to usurp authority over your nation. Some kind of way they're going to plant a plant into your country. Verse 15, and he had power to give life unto the image of the beast, that the image of the beast should both speak, and cause that as many as would not worship the image of the beast should be killed. See? And he causeth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. So it's the timeline. You follow the timeline. It's kind of literally going in order of the time periods. You go up to verse 11. He's seen it come up out the earth. This, you can tie that back to the 1600s, 1700s, with the establishment of the 13 colonies separating from Britain, gaining independence. Fast forward, the creation of NATO, the creation of the atomic bomb. Fast forward to where we at now, where the digital grid is being established, and he about to bring forth the mark. We about to see it. And he calls it all. Yeah, we read that. And that no man might buy or sell save he that had the mark or the name of the beast or the number of his name. And buying and selling is all being done electronically now. Very, very few transactions are happening in hand, cash. Mostly like haircuts, or if that, a little prostitution might still be done in cash. That's the oldest profession in the book. But anyway, I just want to grab those main things. There was another one about the gas from right here. First Valero Refinery. That's not the one. Now largest U.S. gasoline pipeline damaged in Georgia. Check this out. Because this is about to affect travel. Colonial's pipeline. Line 1, the largest U.S. gasoline pipeline running from Houston toward the East Coast, has halted operations after a third-party work crew damaged a section of the line in Georgia. Bloomberg reported that the line stopped shipping fuel after the damage occurred on Tuesday in Paulding County, Georgia. Okay, the outage hits a critical fuel artery that carries about 1.5 million barrels per day of gasoline from Houston and North Carolina, supplying the East Coast market that remains heavily dependent on pipeline deliveries due to limited local refining capacity. Let's remind the readers that the 100,000 barrel per day Port Arthur, Texas, Valero refinery experienced an explosion last week in its 47,000 BPD unit 243 diesel hydrotreater. The good news, blah, blah, blah. First a refinery, now a pipeline. One has to wonder whether these industrial accidents, quote unquote, are early signs of sabotage, particularly at a time when energy infrastructure is being destroyed across Russia, Ukraine, and the Middle East. You see? Something nefarious is going on, man. So travel is about to get halted. And guess what? These cities are about to be troubled. These cities are about to be troubled, and they're about to be miserable. 2nd Esdras 15 and verse 18, it says, "For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be afraid, and houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation." This can cause a lack of bread. That means, things are not about to be moving. On top of that, you had the Nebraska wildfires, which burnt down 800,000 acres. Nebraska governor lifts. So they got it contained. I think this happened last week, but over 700,000 acres of land burnt as Nebraska battles largest fires in state history. Right now, what's the significance with the wildfires there? Does the Nebraska wildfires affect food or fertilizer or any other important resources? Yes, but mostly indirectly. The biggest impact, livestock feed. The fires burnt 700,000, 800,000 acres of grazing land. That land feeds tens of thousands of cattle. What that means, grass equals natural feed, gone. Stored hay, spring, winter feed, gone. Ranchers now have to buy feed, more expensive, move cattle, or sell cattle early. Result, pressure on the beef supply, higher meat prices, or slower recovery of supply. Number 2, crop and land damage. Fires damage farmland, soil quality, infrastructure, fences, irrigation. Burnt land can take 1 to 3 years to recover. So while it doesn't wipe out grocery store food, it reduces future production capacity. So number 3, supply chain stress. Oh, man. Fertilizer. Farmers already face high fertilizer costs. Now they have more wildfire losses. Affordability and usage might be the issue. It's more subtle land, less grazing land. Higher feed costs equals higher meat prices. So meat is going to go up. Oh, man. God damn, boy. And these are the plagues. These are the plagues, man. These are the plagues coming. While we already in 2nd Esdras 15, let's jump up to verse 10. Behold, my people is led as a flock to the slaughter. Now, according to the scriptures, the Lord people has always and will always be Israel, the Israelites. I will not suffer them now to dwell in the land of Egypt. Now, Egypt, the Lord likens Egypt to the land of bondage, the land of captivity, which today represents Babylon the Great. Right? So he's not going to allow us to be consumed here in Babylon the Great. He's not going to leave us for dead here. It says, but I will bring them with a mighty hand and a stretched out arm, right? And smite Egypt with plagues as before, and I will destroy all the land thereof. Right? And one, shit, that's an example of him destroying the land, but he's going to destroy the whole land through missiles. Right? And the plagues as before, an example of that would be what? The plague of the livestock. You see? Let's get it. Plague of the livestock. We just came out of the Passover, this is around that time. Around that time. Well, we just had the Passover yesterday, but Just like back in the scriptures, the Lord was bringing the plagues. Now, we don't know how many days. I don't think we know if it was like one plague each day or whatnot, or if it was spread out a couple days and let them marinate in one plague and then hit them with another. Here it is, Egyptian cattle. Exodus 9:1. Then the Lord said unto Moses, go in unto Pharaoh and tell him, thus saith the Lord God of the Hebrews, Lord in all caps is Yahweh, if you don't know, let my people go that they may serve me. For if thou refuse to let them go and will hold them still, behold, the hand of Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shai, is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, upon the horses, upon the asses, upon the camels, upon the oxen, and upon the sheep. There should be a very grievous murrain. What's a murrain? I think that's a pestilence, if I'm not mistaken. Yep, the bar. Pestilence, plague, cattle disease, mad cow. Inside joke. Verse 4 says, and the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of all that is the children of Israel's. So the Lord said, I'm only gonna hit the cattle of those Egyptians. And the Lord appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow the Lord shall do this thing in the land. Verse 6, and the Lord did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Egypt died, but of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of the Israelites dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go. Same things now. Plague, right? Esau ain't letting up. He doubling down. What? As crews brace for new threats. Wildfires in western Nebraska prompt readiness for Norfolk Fire Division. Yeah, and the fire is kindled too. That's another one. What will if it all be already kindled? Go ahead and end there though. This is Luke 12:49. What does it say? Christ divides men. It says, I am come to send fire on the earth. And what will I? If it be already kindled. What will I if it already be kindled? Plagues are being sent, man. They draw nigh, not slack. So, yeah, man, the Lord is on his way, man. All hell is breaking loose, man. Lord willing, we, stay strong and endure, because that point I want to make back in that Exodus 9, I want to bring that out one more time, because it said that Exodus 9:4, and the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall nothing die of all that is of the children of Israel. So the Lord is the one responsible through his left hand via Esau and the heathen. Really Esau, he's the destroyer of the earth. He's allowing them to do these things, but the Lord can sever, which is the Hebrew word palah, which is to be distinct, marked out, be separated, to be distinguished. He can separate his, the household of faith from everyone else in the plagues that are consuming the world and will consume the world. So, Lord willing, he keeps us and passes over us, in these times. I pray this was an edifying lesson. I just wanted to go into some news and, bring it out. So, until next time, shalom.